Hey everyone, I am back with another seasonal favourites video. This time we're talking all things winter and I have my cup of tea in my queen bee mug. I've got my cozy jumper on and it is time to get into it. Oh, I've also got my little winter case on my phone, which I'm obsessed with. And as like we did with the autumn's favourites, I'm gonna go through a bunch of different categories and give my favourites in those. I've tried again to not go super cliche and obvious with my choices, but I was actually pretty surprised at like how much I don't have winter specific related things in my life, so it's kind of fun to do. But it also made me realize that there are so many movies and books and stuff that are like my comfort reads and my comfort watches, but they're not actually winter related. So I did kind of find it hard and I had to think a little bit out of the box for a couple of them. But anyway, let's get into it. So starting us off, we have food and drink related things. For autumn I did baking stuff, but for this one I'm doing some baked goods as well as some drinks. And so the first one on my list that I would actually really love to bake this time around is a fruit pie of some sort. So either like strawberry pie, cherry pie maybe, although we don't really have cherries in season at the moment. Yeah, like a strawberry or raspberry pie or like a peach pie or something like that I think would be delicious. And then I also want to make some homemade pasta, which I actually did a couple of nights ago, but it did not turn out great. It was edible and was fine, but it just made me go, okay, I want to improve this. And I feel like it would be a fun thing to do with friends over. We had a friend over as we did it the other night, and I just think that that's such like a cozy idea for a dinner, to like just have someone over, make your own pasta, make your own meal, have some red wine, just be super cozy. Then the drinks that I have is hot chocolate with whipped cream, obviously, but then also a London fog with cold foam. So I don't know if you've ever had a London fog. I've had makeshift versions of it. I don't think I've ever had a proper one, but basically it's Earl Grey tea, which this happens to be. It's Earl Grey tea and then like frothed milk, or in this case I want cold foam, because if you remember my very first vlog, it was Christmas related and I tried to make my own cold foam and it didn't turn out amazing. I think I just went for the most basic recipe possible and I shouldn't have, because it didn't turn out that good. So I want to master a cold foam and put it over the top of an Earl Grey tea, because I just think that that would be delicious. So that is called a London fog. And I just think at the heart of winter is just like warmth and coziness and spending quality time with friends. And so a lot of these things you could do with your friends and just like host a cozy night. It could be a dinner party, it could be something else that I'm going to mention later, but just any excuse to kind of like warm your soul with your friends, you know? Anyway, so that's the food and drink part. Then moving on to our movies. The first one on my list, which as I was thinking of these this morning, Abby was like, isn't that more an autumn movie? And I was like, well, no, because I moved it from my autumn one to this one because I thought it fit better. Now she has me second guessing it, but that is Age of Adeline, which I associate with winter because there's scenes where they're like rugged up in coats and scarves and stuff. So I was like, no, it's winter. And like the night of her accident is New Year's Eve, so I feel like it's all based in the new year, which in America is winter, so therefore winter movie. But anyway, Age of Adeline, beautiful movie. If you don't know it, you should watch it. It's got Blake Lively in it, and basically she was born in the 1900s, I can't remember when, and when she's in her 20s, I think, she's in this car accident that like stops her heart, stops her body and stuff, and then as she gets revived, she stops aging. And so the movie's now set in like kind of present time, like in the 2000s, and she is still the same age that she was all those years ago. And so she kind of always changes her identity and things so that people don't become suspicious of her, but she's just living this quiet life. And then she meets this guy and she's like, okay, this is complicated because I'm not, he doesn't know my secret. And so yeah, it's about all of that, and it's just like really beautiful, really cozy, and I love it. Next one on the list is a little bit rogue, but it is such a good movie, and that is Rise of the Guardians. And I put this in here because it's an animation. It's about Jack Frost, so it's very winter focused, and it does have Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, and like other Guardian characters. But like while it has each of those, it's not set in those seasons. It's set like very much in winter, and so it is just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, even if if animation's not your thing, it's just a great movie. It's funny. Yeah, just watch it. Next one on the list is August Rush. Oh, I love this movie so much. I grew up watching this with my siblings. It's about this little orphan boy. He is just like a musical prodigy, and yeah, he just like, music is just absolutely flowing in his veins, and he's like does this like particular guitar technique that my brother growing up just like fell in love with, and he would practice it all the time. So we watched this movie a lot growing up, and then I've watched it a few times since being an adult, and some of my friends really love it too. And it's just, I don't know, it may not even be that wintry, but I feel like the vibe of it is wintry, if that makes sense. Yeah, you leave the movie being like, oh my gosh, love that. Well, at least I did, so I hope you do too. And then the last movie on the list is If I Stay, a classic. I think I always put this in winter related things, but this is a movie that came out when I was in high school. I read the book, I watched the movie, so it very much just reminds me of my teenage years, but it's also just wintry. It's like snowy and beautiful, and it's about a girl. She's also a cellist, go figure, must be the winter instrument, but she is part of a family. She's the eldest daughter, she's got a younger brother and then parents, and they're in a car accident right at the start of the movie, and she has this out-of-body experience where she's witnessing the aftermath of it, of them all being in hospital and the different things that happen with that. But then it also jumps back in time to show the story of like her relationship, of her dating this boy and who's also a musician, and yeah, it kind of just like weaves through the storylines and stuff, and it's kind of just like, okay, does she have like a reason to stay like here on earth, or does her body give up and stuff? And it's kind of like the decision's up to her because she's like having this out of body experience and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, very cute movie, very romantic. I love it, and you should watch it. It's just such a good movie. Then onto our TV shows. I actually only have one, and it's not even that wintry at the heart of it, because it literally is just like a teen drama, and that is One Tree Hill, which, to be fair, they filmed a lot of it during winter in North Carolina, and so a lot of the time they are in like jeans and jackets and scarves and beanies and whatnot. But the premise of the show is not winter related really at all. As I said, it's like high school drama and it's just like a classic teen show. But for me, whenever it hits winter, I feel like starting it again. So that's why that's in this category. It is just great. It follows teenagers at high school. Basketball is like the main town sport. So a couple of the main guys are basketball players. The two main guys actually are half brothers, but they didn't grow up together. So one grew up with the dad and with his mum, and they're like a wealthy family, well off. He's the star basketball player, he's dating the cheerleader. And then the other one has grown up just with his single mum, knowing who his dad is and the fact that this other guy is his half brother, but they've just never had anything to do with each other, and he's kind of lived in like the lower to middle class life, and he's just the nice guy. And then he looks at joining the basketball team, and so that just kind of like disrupts the whole dynamic. It's got lots of drama, lots of romance, lots of basketball, and it just is such a good show. I really think that everyone should watch it if they haven't already, and please report back to me because I want to hear all your thoughts. And that is all I have for TV shows, because I literally couldn't think of anything. I was googling other things, but again, there's just like stuff that I might watch in winter, but it's not necessarily winter related. Like I've been feeling the itch to watch The Summer I Turned Pretty again, and that's just because it came out a year ago in winter, even though it's the epitome of a summer show. So anyway, not a very extensive list there. Moving on to our music though. A lot of these cross over into my autumn music taste, and so I was again trying to think a little bit out of the box from what I said last time. But these are just some artists who I think their music is just super cozy, super relaxed, nice to have on in the background while you're reading a book, doing a craft, if you have friends over for a dinner party, all those sorts of things. It's just like great music for those vibes. And so the first one on the list is Jamie Cullum. His music is very swingy, jazzy, a lot of old school classics with a bit of like a modern take on them, even though he's literally been around for ages. His cover of Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka, highly recommend. I also love his cover of What a Difference a Day Made. He just has, yeah, go listen to him and you'll see what I mean. It's not like super traditional traditional jazzy kind of sounding, but I just love his voice. It's very cozy. I also have John Mayer on the list. I think his music makes great like road trip songs, background music, just that very like flowy, cozy kind of vibe. Then I have someone, his name is Tom Misch. I would say if you're going to go listen to him, I would say to listen to this album in particular. It's my favorite of his. I've listened to his older stuff and he also had an album come out recently, but none of it like gives the same vibe as this album, and I love this album, especially his song. It's to do with a movie. Oh my gosh, what's it called? I'm gonna have to look that up. Movie. Where are you, Tom Misch? Oh, it's literally called Movie. So Movie by Tom Misch, that one, oh, I love it. It starts off with like a sound clip of a really old school movie, and it's just, I don't know, it just like sets the tone for the song, and it's great. And also actually while I was like swiping in this playlist of mine, also came across Ryan Beatty, who I also think his music sits really nicely in a chill winter vibe. So highly recommend him. I love Bruises Off the Peach, Andromeda, Hunter. God, the whole album's great, so go listen to it. And then the last one on the list, well actually I'm gonna put Lizzie McAlpine in here because I don't think I put her in my autumn one, and I think her music sits in those vibes. She's got very like all-round music. I would listen to her any day of the year, but I think that her voice in some of her songs, especially her latest album, would sit more in the cozy winter vibe. So Lizzie McAlpine, she's like one of my favorite artists, so listen to her. And then the last one on the list is Norah Jones. Just obviously cozy. I've said cozy a billion times, but that is the vibe of winter, and so forgive me. But Norah Jones' music is just so nostalgic, so nice to listen to. I love her voice, I love her music. It's like, what's the song? Come Away With Me. Come Away With Me and Don't Know Why. That's it. And Paint a Song, that's a beautiful song as well. Anyway, Norah Jones, you should know her, and if you know her, you should love her. She's incredible, and I will always put her on. Great music. Okay, so moving on to our books. Again, I only have a couple, and I think that's just because, actually, I don't think I even said this in the video, but something I found really hard with these categories is that a lot of the winter media that exists in the world is very Christmas related, because the Northern Hemisphere, most of the world celebrate Christmas in winter, and so a lot of movies that I love, I'm like, oh, they're Christmassy vibes. A lot of books I love, I'm like, oh, that's a Christmas book. So it's kind of finding it hard, but I've got a couple of books on here, and the first one is If We Were Villains, which is another one that I could have put in autumn, but I chose to keep it for this one because I just felt like that book to me feels a bit more like rainy than autumnal, if that makes sense. And then rain to me feels a bit more wintry than autumnal. Autumnal to me feels like crisp, nice weather that you enjoy. Winter is like intense cold that you're like, oh my gosh, how have I ever been sweating, because right now I'm freezing. And so I feel like rain fits more in the winter category for me, and so for that reason I put If We Were Villains in this one. And I think I've talked about this before, but it is set in, I think, the 80s or the 90s, a little bit old school. The main character, his name is Oliver, and the book starts 10 years after these events, and he has been in jail for 10 years. And you're like, what for? He's in there for a murder, but then you're like, wait, but did he do it? Who did it? What's the truth behind this story? And so it follows these 6 students, I think, in their final year of a like theatre school. So they're actors, and they're in their final year of study, and they do a lot of Shakespeare in this year. So a lot of their like social dynamics and the events of the book follow the kind of like, yeah, follow Shakespeare plays in a way, in terms of like the different events and the dynamics between relationships. So each of the 6 get cast as particular characters in these plays, and then it starts to really reflect their lives. And then I think it's about halfway through the book, one of them dies, and you're like, ah! So for the first half of the book, you're like, I don't know who dies. And then the second half of the book, you're like, oh my gosh, who did it? And so very, very good. It sits in a dark academia vibe, which I just love, but it's honestly the best one I've read in that category. So I'm looking for more. If you happen to know any that you could recommend, please do. Just because often I find that dark academia books then slip into being a little bit more like gothic or dark fantasy paired with the dark academia. So yes, please recommend any if you can think of any. And then the other one on my list is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I actually read last winter, and I remember I was reading it on the couch and I was freezing, freezing, and in the book Emily doesn't know how to start her own fire in the little cabin that she's living in, and so she was freezing, and I was reading this book just being like, oh my gosh, I feel so cold. Ugh. I just like felt very immersed in it, even though it's literally about fairies and stuff. I actually was like surprised it had like a bit of an edginess to the fairies. It wasn't just this like super light and fluffy book, and so I think that's what made me like it more. And my plan for this winter is to get a copy of the second one and to keep read the second and the third books in the trilogy, because I just thought it was like a fun vibe and interesting, and I'd never really read anything like it before, so I'm keen to continue that series. And then I thought I would also just add in a little hopeful for this category of a book that I hope is a fun winter read, and that is Not If I Save You First, which this is by Ali Carter, who is the author of the Gallagher Girls series, which I don't think I've talked about them much on here, but I'm planning on doing a favorite series video and they will absolutely go in that. I read them in high school, they're such a fun time, and Not If I Save You First I actually bought at a Lifeline book fair last year, and the cover of it is very snowy, and so I'm only assuming that it is set in winter, and it's about, I think, the daughter of the president's bodyguard, and so she's become friends with the president's son, and then the president's son goes missing or runs away or something, and she's like, okay, let me go find him before the bad guys do and stuff. So it's a little bit of like a friends to lovers, but I don't know if they're like fully best friends. Anyway, I'm excited to read it. It sounds really interesting, and I hope that it's a great winter read that I'll then be able to recommend after that. And then, big sip of tea. The last category is activities. I think these are pretty standard, but that's okay. They are cozy and they are fun. The first one, which I have gotten back into lately, which I did a year ago in winter, and so it feels very wintry to me, is knitting. And I am currently knitting a vest, which I'm very excited. I actually can show you an update because it is right here. This is my vest so far. It's getting there, it's getting there. It obviously doesn't look like it'll look because I will slip that off the rod if I go too far, but it's got edging down the sides, and it's gonna have two ties that tie it together on the side. It's got the ribbing, and it's getting kind of long. I think I'm about halfway of one panel, which is very fun and exciting. And so knitting, I think, is just an absolutely perfect cozy winter vibe. And then the next one on the list, again, which is just hanging out with friends, is doing a craft night of some sort. I think craft nights can literally be done all through the year, but as I was saying at the start, like any excuse to just get your friends together and have quality time together feels very wintry to me, and so craft nights are fun. It could be painting, it could be embroidery or beading or wine glass painting, which is what I did a year ago. Yeah, literally anything. And I feel like I need to sneeze. Oh, that was scary. Holding my cup of tea. And then the last one on the list, which I kind of hinted at earlier, is having a sleepover with your friends. At Christmas and in summer, like around my birthday and stuff, I'm very good at wanting to do sleepovers, but you're often just really hot, and so you have to have fans on, and you don't really sleep with many blankets and stuff because you're just hot. And for some reason, I just never think to do them as much in winter, when that's literally the perfect time to get cozy and cuddle up. And so I have that on my list, and I'll absolutely aim to do that this winter. Have a cozy sleepover. Why don't you like make homemade pasta and watch one of these movies, have that music on while you do it, and maybe do a craft while you watch the movie, and then have a sleepover. You literally could combine them all into the same thing. Anyway, I hope that some of these recommendations were new to you and that you can give them a go and enjoy them. If you know any of the others and love them, let me know, because I always love finding people who love the same things as me. Yeah, let me know if you have any recommendations in these same categories. I'm always looking for more things to love, so I want to hear from you. And yeah, I guess that's another Bex Rex, but it's my winter favorite. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you get up to some of these things, and I will see you in the next video. So yeah, God bless you. Bye.